Hello and welcome to this video. So on Sunday, Series 24 of Top Gear came to the end, with the Matt LeBlanc headed series receiving much better reviews than the Chris Evans series which came last year. However, on Saturday the 22nd of April, we also saw the 40th anniversary of Top Gear, which, for some unknown reason, has gone almost completely without notice. So to right this wrong, I've decided to put together this video of all the Top Gear opening sequences. The first one is this one from 1977. Whilst watching, note the gear change.
Hello there, and welcome to this, our first edition of Top Gear. Now, if you happen to be a road user, let's face it, who isn't these days, then I do hope you're going to find something of special interest to you in this new series.
And so on to the second sequence. While I have tried to source the best possible material for use in this video, it has not always been possible to source perfect copies. So, enjoy whatever there is of this clip.
Hello and welcome to tonight's Top Gear. This week we're at the motorcycle show in Birmingham. Now the motorcycle industry...
So these next two opening sequences are very similar in style, with the second one just being an update of the first one. So take a look and also, while doing so, note the gear changes.
Hello and welcome to a new series of Top Gear. I must say it's very nice to be back after that long hot summer.
Smoothly into Top Gear.
In tonight's Top Gear, what price the joys of the open road? Do today's British sports cars uphold the tradition of motoring for the fun of it? Punctures may be rare these days, but when they occur, they're still inconvenient. We test the latest design intended to get you home safely without changing a wheel. Plus motoring in the 90s, the 1890s that is. What sort of machine was the first British petrol engine car? Good evening and welcome to Top Gear, sadly the last programme in the current series. And we start tonight's programme by harking back...
Hello, me again. So, this next opening sequence you will see includes a rather special debut, the Top Gear logo, which is still, albeit with a few modifications, the essential logo we still see today on Top Gear. So, back from the 1980s, it's the next opening. This next opening sequence has a rather fond place in my heart. Why? Because out of all these sequences we see, this is my favourite.
In this week's Top Gear, another rather conventional design from Citroën. Has the Leopard changed its spots? The horror of car fires, a possible cause, and a new scheme for putting them out. And a great name returns with a new superbike for the 90s. Hello and welcome to this week's Top Gear. We're back here at Donington for this year's Radio Times Rally Quest competition.
So I bet you like that original theme music that they used from Jessica. Well, so do I. So for one last time before they change the music, let's see this opening sequence.
Forget, because we're back.
Top Gear is back with a new series and more cars than ever. From now until Christmas, we'll be mainlining motors. Tonight, I'm in La La Land with America's star-spangled sports car, the new Chevrolet Corvette. Steve Berry reckons that 90s motorbikes are the best ever. And Tiff Needell drives some precious metal through Basildon High Street.
But before all that,
So again, I apologise for quality of the next clip. One, it's a really bad theme tune, because for some reason they decided to change the theme tune. Although it is still a Jessica, it doesn't sound anything like the original. And secondly, of course, the video clip isn't the best quality. The next two opening sequences we shall take a look at are the last of the original format. The original format would finally come to an end on the 17th of December 2001. What happened after that? Well, we'll talk about that later.
Beautifully handling BBC Two.
On tonight's show, Tiff thrashes round the track in the interest of modern science to find out which is the best handling car you can buy. And Vicky attempts to split the aerial atom.
No Name is the sternest challenge for the mountain men, here on BBC Two in half an hour.
In tonight's Top Gear, a Lexus with everything. Why some people will pay a fortune for the right plate. And it's Beatles versus Beach Boys, only with cars.
So, the original format of Top Gear, which was half an hour long, ran for 45 series, with 515 episodes. However, it was brought to a close due to its unpopularity at the time. The next series of Top Gear wouldn't be until 2002 on the 20th of October, when it was brought back with Jeremy Clarkson as lead presenter again. This incarnation has run for 24 series so far, with 188 episodes, including 11 specials. So let's take a look at the first opening sequence of that.
This is a car program. There will be no cushions. There will be no rag rolling. No one will sing, and at the end of the series, no one will have a recording contract. This is our new base. And this is our purpose-built test track. There are no traffic jams here, well, apart from this one, and no bus lanes either. This is Top Gear. And in the show tonight, I put two supercars head-to-head.
I'm going to ask you for £2,000.
Jason Dorr on what to do when car dealers attack.
£5 short of £3,000.
But will that be enough? Richard Hammond will try to beat a speed camera and a star in a reasonably priced car.
Subsequent episodes of this hour-long version of Top Gear will go out with slightly shorter opening sequences without the preamble by Jeremy Clarkson.
On tonight's Top Gear, Richard Hammond in a V8 tumble dryer. The classiest way to bankrupt yourself.
Wow!
And we turn up the heat on the world's dullest car.
The next opening sequence we will look at has been changed many times, slightly, with different clips and shots being used in the sequence, but essentially throughout the rest of the Jeremy Clarkson era of Top Gear, this would remain the opening sequence, and because there are many similar ones, we only have time to look at one, which is this one.
Tonight, Raikkonen. Oops. Evans.
Can't believe it.
Slash. And bash as we do.
So the next opening sequence we shall take a look at is from Series 23. This series saw Chris Evans take over as lead presenter of a 7-man presenting team, or woman. There was one woman. This was following the departure of Jeremy Clarkson owing to events which do not need to be repeated in this video. So, Chris Evans stepped down after Series 23, which was described as cringeworthy by some because of Chris Evans trying his best to imitate Jeremy Clarkson and failing. Matt LeBlanc, as a new lead presenter in Series 24, would learn from this, and here is the much refreshed title sequences used during Series 24. So, bored of opening sequences yet? Well, I'm not. So let's take a look at some of the spin-off series of Top Gear. The first series we shall take a look at is Rally Report, presented originally by William Woolard, who was also lead presenter of Top Gear. The second opening sequence we shall see, Rally Report, would later be known as Top Gear Rally Report, originally broadcast from 1984 to 1998. Let's take a look at these two sequences.
Hello and welcome to...
Well, BBC Two roars into action now with a Top Gear report on this week's RAC Rally, introduced by Steve Lee.
Welcome to the city of Birmingham, the heart of the country, the heart of the motor industry, and believe it or not, with more canals than Venice. This year, it's host to the Network Q RAC Rally, the final round of the World Rally Championship.
3, 2, 1.
It's 15 years since the rally last...
Top Gear Rally Report would last for 60 episodes. The next series, as you can tell by the picture on the screen, is Top Gear Motorsport, which would run from 1994 to 1998 for 94 episodes.
First on BBC Two, this week's Trackside Pass.
In Top Gear Motorsport this week, Tony Mason reports on the Atlas Rally in Morocco. Penny Mallory celebrates 30 years of drag racing at Santa Pod. And Tiffany Dell watches the fluctuating battle for honours in Formula 3.
Hello and welcome to Top Gear Motorsport. This is Mallory Park, one of Britain's many club circuits, which today celebrates...
So, the next two opening sequences are spin-offs of the 2002 version of Top Gear. These are charity special opening sequences. The first one, Top Gear of the Pops, was broadcast as part of the Comic Relief 2007 appeal, and the next one, Top Ground Gear Force, was broadcast as part of the 2008 Sports Relief appeal.
Welcome to Top Gear of Deportes. Now, as I'm sure you know, Top of the Pops was killed off last year, but they wanted to bring it back for this Comic Relief special, and we were given the job because our name is quite similar.
Yeah, so what we've got in store is like Top Gear, only half as long. And instead of cars, there's music. So we've got Supergrass, we've got Travis...
Yeah, and then, at the end, all right, the end of the show, the three of us will be performing as a band for the very first time.
Hello, and I've just trodden in some dog poo. Never mind. I'm sure you all remember the TV show Ground Force. The idea was that some people with regional accents would come round to your house while you were out and do up your garden. Then you'd come home, cry with unbridled joy, and then everyone would have some warm pomaine. Now, sadly, it isn't on anymore, so we thought it'd be a good idea to bring it back. I mean, gardening. How hard can it be?
Well, I should imagine very hard.
Well, we're going to find out. This is the team. There's Handy Hammond, James E. Dimmock, May, and then we've got some Poles who'll actually do all the work. Anyway, let's get cracking.
So the next three opening sequences are the answer to what do you get when you get a Top Gear presenter asked them to present a program about cars which isn't Top Gear. Well, the three answers that we have here are Quinton Wilson's The Cars a Star, Jeremy Clarkson's Motor World. Jeremy Clarkson would also go on to present other similar TV programs to Motor World, and James May's Cars of the People, which doesn't include a theme tune, just includes a James May type speech introducing the series. Enjoy.
The star is the Ford Capri.
You know, we're still not sure what to make of the 1970s. We don't know whether to look back with fond fascination or appalled astonishment.
In the early days of the car, it was believed that the spread of this new motoring fad would be limited by our ability to train chauffeurs and supply leather for the upholstery. Only the rich would have cars. The rest of us just walked on. But we, the shuffling masses, had seen the cars. And we saw that they were good. This is the story of how motoring came to the masses. How dictatorships and democracies alike pursued the dream of cars for all. Of red herrings, seen here in green, and automotive cul-de-sacs. Of shattered dreams and the fall of the mighty. This is how we fell in love with our wheels. Also, this happens. This week, totalitarian transport, the people's cars of the state.
So, we're nearly at an end of the video, and for time's sake I'm going to pretend that the international versions of Top Gear, such as Top Gear USA and Australia, don't exist, and let's be honest, it's a much happier world if we do that. The next two opening sequences we shall see answer the question, what do you get when Top Gear producers and presenters are made redundant by the BBC? Well, the answer is they go make their own version of Top Gear. The first such instance is Fifth Gear, originally broadcast on Channel 5 on the 8th of April 2002. It would include all the main presenters of a previous series of Top Gear, which had finished the year before, and would include a very similar opening sequence to the 2001 series of Top Gear. The first series of Fifth Gear would spur on Jeremy Clarkson to relaunch the show later in 2002. Fifth Gear would run for 26 series with 237 episodes, so let's have a look at the first opening sequence of Fifth Gear.
Tonight, I'll be revealing Britain's speed camera hotspots, places where you could spend more time watching your speedometer than the road.
Adrian's been driving Citroën's new little C3 in France, his verdict later, and Vicky has the tricky job of racing a Dodge Viper against a Nissan Sunny.
But first, Tiff's been to Italy.
The show Fifth Gear would not only run on Channel 5 but also later on Discovery, History and ITV, as well as repeats on Dave. and ironically would still be named 5th Gear, even though it makes no sense on any other channel apart from Channel 5. Anyway, the next opening sequence needs no introduction, for it is of course the Grand Tour, presented by Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond and James May, which debuted last year on Amazon Prime. Okay, so we are at the end of the video, and before we leave, I want to ask a quick question. What is the other piece of music, apart from Jessica, used as theme on Top Gear? The answer, Elton John's Out of the Blue, which I'll play us out to a list of Top Gear presenters, only one of which are Jeremy Clarkson. And so, on that bombshell, it's time to end. Good night, and thanks for watching.